any new people here today? Anybody new? Bob, good. Can we have your name and where you're from, please?
Arlene Barlow, Naples, Florida.
You're friends of, what's her name?
Yeah, what's your name?
Marcia.
Thank you.
2 years I've been after her to get, I've had 2 years and.
Well, welcome. This is a Naple Mac Friends User Group, which is what we're called. The logo you see on the screen is our new logo. Everybody like it?
Yeah.
We introduced it last week or so after excruciating board-level discussions. We couldn't decide whether it should be capitals or small or green or blue or whatever, but this is what we wound up with.
We even had Donald Trump approve it.
Seemed like it. We meet here every Wednesday through the year, except for July and August. We meet on Mondays, the first, you see it here where it says Monday evenings, the second Monday of the month during season, sort of November, December through March. And then we run a bunch of classes at the Hodges University. We have a nice website designed by some really good guy. That's me, by the way, in case you didn't get that. Across the top are all of the sort of corporate kinds of things, you know, what our history is, about NMUG, our discussion group, member comments and suggestions. Nobody seems to use this one because everybody likes to write their comments down here at the bottom of the welcome page. It doesn't matter, I see them all. Officers and directors, you have all of our pictures and contact information there, and then the annual meeting stuff. And then down the left-hand side, we have our little tagline, from many to many. So there are a couple of questions that I got earlier that I don't know the answers to, so hopefully somebody in the audience does. And then down the left side are your membership issues you can renew online. Those of you who are still handing us checks, come on. This is a computer club. You can all sign on and do it electronically. It takes you to PayPal, but you don't need to be a PayPal member. When you get to the PayPal account, sign-in page, you just put a credit card in and it takes it. So that's good. Our calendar is published here. And if you click on the calendar, it goes to our Google Calendar. Gurgle, 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 because we're in the library. And then each of these things has a little link. If you touch the link, it shows you where we're going to meet, what the subject is, and if there's more details, you can click more details. We have the class notes are all published, so if you didn't get to go to a class, you can tap on our class notes here, and you'll see the list of all the classes that we ran with all the slides. So if you had nothing to do over the summer, go look through the things that you didn't take. And at least you'll get some sense of what the instructors were trying to convey.
For all the stuff you took and forgot over.
Or all the stuff you took and need a refresher on. This is the last 6 years. Some of it is still relevant, which is why I leave them on the website. Lynda.com is the very extensive online class tutorials that you can get through NMUG. We keep 5 seats. Then we use the 5 seats. We allocate, George does the administration. We allocate seats to everyone. We have topic forums. All of our information is organized by topic, more or less. And if you know the topic, you can go there, or you can go to the Wednesday meetings, and you'll see a list separately, but these meetings are the ones that are in chronological order. The topic forums let you look for it in more subject matter. And then the same thing for Mondays, but Mondays are already included in topic forums. We also have a list on the side here. If you're not getting our e-blast, if you didn't get it, at least 2 today from George, then you're not on the list. So put your name on the list. You may have unsubscribed from the Yahoo discussion group and not gotten on this list. That'll put you on the list. So that's just a quickie. I just wanted to cover it since we have a new number. Today we're going to do iOS, but I have a bunch of questions that got sent earlier. So let me open it up for questions, and then our format of this is, I think as everybody knows, we just take your questions and we look at them in sort of order. Whoops. Turn it on, not turn it on. Okay, are there any questions today? Yes, sir. Can you give your name and who you are and what your question is?
Bill Nice. Does anybody have experience with using duplicate photo manager when you've got your pictures on the iCloud? Will it work if the pictures are located in iCloud as opposed to on your computer?
Okay, other questions? There was another one over here.
Yes, Don Kirkpatrick.
Done.
Can you walk me through a method of putting a file into Dropbox so that someone else can pick it up, download it, and convert it for me?
Sure.
Linda Colvin. I'm still using an iPhone 5. It's still running OS 8. Is it that upsetting?
I didn't know that any existed. Go ahead.
And lately I've been having odd battery issues where it tells me I have like 100% battery, and then when I go out and take a few pictures, then it goes black and says I don't have anything. When I went to the Apple store, the fellow said, probably going to need to buy a new one. So the question is, should I get a 6, a 7, or wait for 8, although my iPhone probably won't last that long.
Get a rebuilt one.
Get a rebuilt. The funny thing is that the
Other
Apple Store
questions?
water
Sure.
such a...
Touch ID on my iPhone 6S works tremendously, but it's wonky on my iPad Pro. I would say works about 20% of the time. I'll touch the key in several different positions, and I keep getting try again, and then finally I have to enter my password anyway. And I'm wondering if anybody else has run into a difference between an iPad and an iPhone in terms of Touch ID.
Bernadette, I know we talked about this a long time ago, but how do you make, like, I was sending an email with congratulations, and I wanted them all caps. How do I make them all caps without individually holding the key down and typing the number letter?
Go on. Yes, sir.
John, I'd like to understand the soft and hard reset from a MacBook Pro.
Understand the what?
The soft and hard reset.
Oh. Is that
When
on
I
your
use
iPad?
No.
MacBook Pro?
Yeah.
Oh, on the Mac.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, I'll see you all next week. Shades of Jerry King here.
This is why.
All right, there were a couple other questions that came in. Let me deal with these first. Anybody know about duplicate photo manager? Any experience? I don't know anything about it, so I really can't comment. My suggestion would be to try it on a sample somewhere. You know, let it look, because when you use duplicate manager, and when I've used it, you had to tell it where to look. You tell it to look through the whole library, or tell it to look in an album, or sort of a separate folder somewhere.
Does it merge albums?
No.
I mean, not albums, but folders. I mean, if you've got 3 separate photo libraries,
Okay.
will it merge them?
No. And I would go even further. I would say, if you have them, you know, in photos you can have pictures that are not in photos.
Yes.
You index them, right?
Yes.
So if you have them outside, when you tell duplicate file manager, or photo manager to look for it, you can tell it where to look. So if you tell it to look in the C drive, it looks everywhere. If you tell it to look in folder XYZ, it'll only look at XYZ.
Okay.
So my suggestion would be try it. I don't know why it would behave differently on the cloud.
Bill, are you trying to merge you want to merge 3 libraries?
Well, my photos are a mess, and I'm thinking if I get them all in one package and run Duplicate Photos Pro, then I've got somewhere to start that's reasonable.
Okay, because there is a program out there that you can easily merge all your photos. Are they in the photo app library?
Yes.
That you can merge those libraries. And I'm going to try while we're
Okay,
at
thank
the
you.
meeting, and I'll send you a link to it.
Thank you.
As a matter of fact, the guy, about 4 years ago, actually, we had him remotely from Small Dog Electronics, and he reviewed it. And I actually, yeah, well, I'll send, it's a new program for the photo app.
Thank you.
Everybody knows that if you go to the Photos icon and you hold down Option, let's see if that one. Maybe it's already open, sorry. I think it's bigger, but when you make it bigger, then you can't find it.
Can't see.
Right. If you go to Photos and you hold down the Option key, when you hold down the Option key and click the icon, you then get the libraries that are on the computer. So in this case, there's only one library on this computer. It's called Photo Library, System Photo Library. If I had made if I had made another library and put, let's say, my travel pictures in a different library, that would appear here. And then I could choose one or the other. Down here at the bottom, you'll see it says Create New. So what that's going to do is make a new library. Again, if I wanted to put pictures in this for a special reason, I could put them in that library. The other library choice, I get to in a minute. The other library says Other Library, and that's because it's going to go look on the computer to see if there are other libraries on the computer that you might not have been automatically pulled in. For example, in my case, the users are me and my wife. On this computer, we have Don, Jerry, Marty, NMUG. We have 4 or 5 different libraries. So if there were a library in one of these other places, you'd be able to go find it. You'd be able to go see it over here. There'd be a pictures library. There's no photos library here. But it would show you that if it were there. So,
I was wondering, if you have 3 or 4 libraries, can you tell where that library is located?
yeah, it shows you the whole thing. Because it's showing you the path here. It shows you users, Naples Mug, pictures, photo library, photos library.
Oh, so if that was on a auxiliary disk.
It would show it. Yeah.
Thank you.
I do it at home all the time, because many of my libraries are on different external drives,
Right.
because I don't keep them on my Mac.
Okay.
All right, Harrison. Marty, so if you make another library,
Sorry. Go ahead.
when you make another library, and then you take a photo, how do you discriminate which library it goes into?
Whichever library is open is the one it goes into. So that's why you have to do the option when you click on it. It's a little bit cumbersome to change libraries. It's not like in iMovie. In iMovie, the libraries can all appear, so you can see which library you're playing in.
Thank you.
Other questions on that? How do you put a file in Dropbox and share it? I'm going to have to do it on the iPad because I don't have Dropbox on here yet. I guess we just made this account. So let me,
How different is that from using an iMac, which is what I want to use?
how different is it than using what?
An iMac. You're using a pad to show. Same process.
No, the same process. Yeah, it's the same process. So, sorry, thought you were asking me a different question. Let me just make this a little bigger. And we'll move it over a little bit. All right, so Dropbox looks like that, right? Dropbox looks like this. And when you put things in Dropbox, you just store them there, right? It's the same process whether you're on the iPad or whether you're on your Mac. You just drag files over and say, yep, I want to put it here. And I don't have anything in my Dropbox. So here, this is a list of files that I have in my Dropbox, right? Now, when you want to share from an iPad, let's take the logo. I'm going to share this picture. I touch the little share button.
Where is that?
Share button, usually it's here, or here, there you go. Export. You all know about the share button, right? So from your iPad, you would touch the share button, export, and it would bring up this normal share menu, right, which has all the faces of the people here if they have AirDrop on, which is the top line, and it's this line, right? And all of these things are, I can share it in any way that I want to. So I can messenger it or do any of that kind of stuff, right? I can just put it on Google Plus or whatever. When you're on your Mac, you're in Safari. Somewhere here. Gonna make me close it. Okay, sorry, here's the. I love the beach ball. Yeah, you all love the beach ball? You never got one? Oh, not good, right? You always get these things. It's gonna be one of those days. When you're on your Mac, sharing happens on the web from the browser, not from the Mac. It's not like it happens here. So I can get ads, but I can't get work. Sorry. We'll just try it again. Keep trying until we find the right answer. So when you want it, so I'm in Dropbox on the web, right? You just sign in Dropbox.com. And if I wanted to share this item, I would just select it. And somewhere here, that big blue button says share. And then it asks you to email it. So you just put your email in here. So if I was going to do George Rubin, I would put George Rubin @gmail.com. I can add a message, so I would say, here is the file I used to send you, right? And then I would say share. If I say I want feedback on this file, it would then tell me that he got it. I'd get a message that said it was received, so I would just say share. And it goes and shares. And then the file gets, the link gets sent to him, and he can access it simply by clicking on that link. I do it all the time for organizations where you want to send some minutes out to people. We do it with NMUG, we send it out. Gmail works the same way. If you have a Google Drive account, works exactly the same way. OneDrive works exactly the same way. So just depending on what you're sending.
So I drag the file into Dropbox first,
Right.
and then from that point go through the process.
Yes, if this computer was my regular computer,
Right.
in Finder, I would have a Dropbox entry here,
Okay.
right?
Yeah. Right.
Just like on iCloud, when I want to send a file on iCloud, it works exactly the same way. But you have to do it from the web for Google Drive, OneDrive, iCloud Drive, all get shared that way. Other questions on that?
Thank you.
Sure. iOS 5 battery dies. Yeah. It happened to me. And when your battery is when your battery gets too low, it can't get charged anymore. It's more expensive to replace the battery than it is to buy a new phone. So, buy a new phone. I think that
But
one of the
I think the
suggestions
question was which one?
Oh, which one?
And I do want one with a bigger screen than what I've got.
Yeah, my grandson, who many of you met recently, told me that I should be buying Samsung. Because he
My
used Samsung.
brother tells me I
He
should buy
literally
Samsung.
held up the iPhone and he held up the Samsung and he said, look, why would you buy this when you can get this? I have this. So when I really need a big screen, you know, I use the big ones.
You probably should get the 6 Plus,
Get a 6 Plus.
You mean a 7
or
Plus?
the 7 Plus.
7. That's the newest model.
Well, it's newest, better. I mean.
7.
Oh, yeah.
And if you look,
Watch will
the
be better
newspapers-
screens, better operating system.
You watch the newspapers on Sunday, Target or Best Buy, just watch the ads.
Yeah, because when I got it before, since I have Verizon, I bought it at the Verizon store.
Or Verizon. I would check with Verizon. Is your contract up?
Oh, it's probably up a long time.
Okay, well, if they want, so then you can negotiate if you need a new contract.
You might even get money for the basically almost dead phone that you have.
What's interesting, when my battery died a year ago, I took it to the Verizon store. He said, oh, you need to get a new one. He wrote up all this stuff for like $700 worth of stuff. And then I remembered I have this little cheat sheet that I keep. And when this happened after I first got my iPhone, it went dead, it seemed. And I said, well, just hold down the home and the read power and it'll come on. And lo and behold, I'm glad I waited, said I don't want to buy anyone quite yet. Let me check my notes. But I think it's getting okay. Thank you.
So another question was how to make all caps in email. In several of the Apple programs, you can do this automatically. And the way you do it is you select the text. I just made an example.
So you have the word that you want to send and then.
Yeah, you just highlight the word and up under edit. It's really very nice, very easy. The word transformation, right? And it's, aha! So you learned something. All right, that's $50. You say make it uppercase. And if you have uppercase and you want to make only the back part of it uppercase or lowercase. You do transformations, make it lowercase. And then it makes it lowercase.
Do you highlight?
Made it all lowercase.
Highlight
Edit.
on the edit menu, transformations, make uppercase.
You're on the Mac right now? You're on the computer?
I'm on the Mac. Yeah.
Okay, what about the iPad and iPhone?
I don't think you can do it on iPad.
I
Yeah,
thought
you
you-
can.
You can? All right,
Double
George.
click that arrow.
See, from many to many.
And what is capitalized? It just capitalizes the first letter of each word?
No, everything.
Well, no, there was a third option.
It's this.
Double
His
click the
question
arrow.
is this. If I highlight that and I say capitalize, what does it do? Makes the first letter capitalized.
Of
And
each
it does it, you notice that the N also changed and the X also changed, right? See that here? So, because they're separators, right, with commas, it changed those. Let me do it again.
Make it on the iPad?
Yes.
Yeah, they say, he says again, I'm going to get that in a minute. I think, actually, I remember now you said that. So we're going to make these all lowercase for a minute, right? I'm going to select this text, edit, transformations, capitalize, and it changes the X, the N, and the C, because there are separators there. What do you call it, the commas separated. So it says capitalize those things. So let's say you were doing a bunch of names. You wanted all the names capitalized. You would just do edit and transformations. That works on Pages, it works in Keynote, works in any of the Apple things. Question?
Well, wouldn't it be easier to just double tap on the arrow on the keyboard and then hit capitalize?
On the iPad or iPhone, yes.
Say it again, you double tap,
Double tap on the arrow
which arrow?
Well, she's talking about the iPad.
And the-
on the iPhone.
No, she's talking about the iPhone or the iPad.
Okay, so let's do this. Now, you're telling me that if I double tap, if I select something,
Double tap on the
Don't
arrow.
select anything.
oh, don't select anything?
Yeah.
Double tap.
So just double tap and then type.
Double tap what, here?
The up arrow. The caps lock key. Caps lock key.
Oh, you mean this? Yeah, sure. I'm sorry, I got it. If you're, when you double tap on the, can everybody see this? Let me make that a little bit. I think everybody knows if you double tap the, okay. I think everybody knows if you double tap the shift key, it locks your caps and then everything you type is in capitals, right? That's what you're referring to?
Yes.
Yeah, but if it's already being typed.
Yeah, it's already typed.
Marty?
The other part of it is what George was just saying, which was, let's select that, and where is it, under here? George, you remember where it is?
No, I don't know how to do what's already typed. I know how to do what you first said.
I don't know if you can do it here. Does anybody know? I don't think you can do it. Marcia?
You might be able to go down
Or Marilyn? Do you have any idea?
No.
I think the bigger question is, Bernadette, why do you want to send an email that's all caps?
No, I just
Oh, we
wanted
know
to
why.
say, our friends, their daughter had twins, and I wanted to send an email and say, congratulations, all in caps, and then to send a letter.
Yeah.
Because some people interpret all caps as shouting.
Oh. You want to go to the shout out?
So you're shouting, but in a good way.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the shift key. It's hard,
Yeah, I'll have the
it's
shift
like easier with the double to make it all locked.
All right. The last one, soft and hard reset on a Mac. George, do you know anything about that?
What was the question? I'm sorry.
What's the difference between soft and hard reset on a Mac?
Yeah, I've heard confusing stories about when you finish say, working on the Mac every day, I just close the lid down. Some people say don't do that because it's still active and you might have a problem. Or do I boot down? Or, I want to know exactly what you do. How do I log out completely?
Well, logging out is different than shutting down, right? Logging out is just Apple menu, log out,
Then you need your password to come back.
and then you'll go to the sign-in screen to sign back in, right?
Yeah.
Sleeping makes it shut down. It says equivalent to doing that, because it turns everything off. It turns everything down, but not off.
What about the soft reset? Whatever that
I'm
is.
not sure what a soft reset is.
I don't think there is one for the Mac.
It checks some things. If you shut it down totally and then restart it, it checks something, it resets, it goes through some tests, because you'll notice sometimes when you shut down or restart, it takes longer than others. So it's automatically readjusting stuff. That, to me, would be a soft reset. A hard reset would be a safe mode start.
I will do some research on that, because I don't know the answer.
What I've heard about, I don't have a laptop, what I've heard, Jerry said several times was, if it isn't completely shut off and you pick it up and move it around, you could mess things up pretty badly. So the idea of making sure it's totally shut off has to do with moving it.
I move my computer all the time, so I always shut it off, totally.
Well, most people who use their laptop do not do anything extraordinary, right? Most people just close the lid, let it sleep, and carry it on. And these are solid-state drives now for the most part, so I don't think there's the issues like we used to worry about with the old computers where the disk drives would vibrate or you'd move the needle. These are solid-state now, so you have hardly anything in there that moves.
But that's only
And get rid
recent.
of all of it.
Marty,
Yeah, the last
only the
2
recent
years.
couple of models
Sure,
are solid state.
sure.
Well, and if you have a fusion drive, that's still the old issue.
Right.
Right.
We had a question that got posted earlier on the internet, on the discussion group, and I just want to talk about it a little bit because a lot of people have these kinds of problems. In mail, we filter mail, and Jerry's covered this at different meetings. Let me try and give the overview. In mail, you have different kinds of filters for junk mail or for filing or for responding or prioritization, all that kind of stuff, right? Understand where mail comes from. There's a server somewhere in heaven or in Atlanta where mail that comes to Marty Dorio at Gmail gets routed. And that route then gets transmitted to another server that's an Apple server somewhere. And then eventually will come to us here, like if you're using iCloud. The Google Mail server, I misspoke, excuse me. The Gmail server routes it from a Google server to a Google server, and then it gets picked up here when we tell the computer what address we want it to go find, right? So filtering is done by Google when it gets the mail in the first place, if it accepts it, and then it will get filtered when it gets to our instructions on our username and website at Google. And then lastly, it gets filtered here when we tell it, filter our mail. And we say in preferences, do some kinds of filtering, right? We can filter here with junk mail if you want to enable junk mail filtering. Or you can set up rules to go even further and say, I want to filter it. And even if it's not junk mail, if it comes from this person, I don't want to see it. So put that in junk mail. Most people who have a Google account don't ever play with the Google preferences on the internet. show you what I'm talking about. If you have a Google account, eventually it'll wake up. Okay.
I've been saying that.
Have you seen it? You've done this yourself. I know. It's really stupid, right? I recommend one password. You're absolutely right. Where did we get password? There you go. Okay, so in Gmail, when you open Gmail on the web, there's this little thing over here that's a gear, and in the gear it says settings, right? And understand that Gmail is not like a regular mail system. Their filters, you can filter and you can block mail here. You can apply filters for anything. You can say, I want to do a certain filter. If I don't want stuff from Bill, I can put his name in here and I can eliminate it on the web at the server so it never comes to my computer. All right? It's being eliminated at Google. Here's a label, sorry. Labels, hold on a second. When you label something, when you pick these labels, it says system label or show in IMAP. Show in IMAP means it's going to show on your computer, on your Mac or on your iPad or iPhone, right? So, for example, if I want my spam to show here, I can click show. If I wanted to hide it, I can click hide, and then I wouldn't see spam on this device, on the web when I sign in. Over here, I would click show in IMAP or unclick it. I keep all my mail so that I can see what's there, because if somebody sends me something and it inadvertently gets sucked somewhere else, you follow what I mean? I want to know it so I can take it out. You don't have to do that. You can eliminate spam and never have it show in IMAP, which means it would never show here or here, right? It would only show if I sign on to Google Mail on the web and look at what's on the server that Google is looking at. Same thing with trash. I can show or hide my trash, or I can show it in IMAP. And then there are categories. They now have all these new categories because they're trying to sort our mail for us. So in Google Mail, you can get social, promotions, updates, forums, and it separates your mail automatically for you. I turn all of these things off. That's why hide is highlighted here. I don't want to see all these categories. But you can make those decisions. So you're making them on the server level, on the Google server level, and you'll never see them here or here. All right? Go ahead.
Sure. While you are here in the Google Mail, can we set it so when we go like that, it doesn't say archive, but get rid of it, or just don't show us at all?
Yeah, I think there's a way to do that.
And see, are you talking about the iPad?
Yeah, when
Oh,
you-
yeah,
And on
you
the
can
phone,
make,
too.
yes, you can have, instead of saying archive, you can make it say trash.
Right.
But you have to go into mail and you have to click on your account and then there might be one more
Go in advanced.
advanced, thank you, and it says deleted mailbox or archive mailbox.
Right.
In the Google Mail or?
So I'll show,
It's in
I'll show
Google
you that in a
Mail.
minute.
I don't know about on the computer.
Remind me and I'll show it, I'll
Yeah.
put it on the iPad. So when you're sorting mail here, if you say, I don't want to see my spam, which is what Google calls junk, right? I uncheck this box, and then it will never come down to the computer. Right? It will never come down to my device. The only way you'll see it is if you go to this place. Right? The other thing that's interesting about Google Mail, a lot of people spend a lot of time, myself included, making file folders and folders and folders so I can get my mail organized. Well, Google says don't do that. They put all their mail in all mail, right? Even stuff that gets deleted or archived or whatever appears here. So if I click all mail, right now I have 17,000 emails. Right? That's every email I've gotten, for however long. It just goes on and on. This is only 100, so I have, what is that, 178 pages of mail. Right?
You can't delete that.
Yeah, you can delete it. The way you delete it is you click here and say, I want to go to, you see when I scroll over it, it says, do I want oldest or newest first? I click oldest. It now goes and finds my mail from 2012, right? That's the oldest piece of mail that's in there. And the way you delete it is you select all and you say delete. I'm moving those from here to here and they'll be deleted. Do you really want to do this? Yes. So now it's going to go, now I only have 17,800 left. So yes, you can, 100 at a time.
Get it.
Right?
Why do they say not to have files in folders?
Well, because this is Google search, right? Let's say I want to look in here and I want to see all the things about elastomers. Elastomer. And it would go find those things related to elastomer or whatever. I thought that was the subject, that's why I did that. But, let's say 2012. It would go find all my mail from 2012.
Mark, while you're on mail, what determines if incoming mail goes into the regular mailbox or under important?
What determines whether it's important or regular?
Yeah.
Their algorithm says if somebody has started to you, or if you have marked it urgent, or if you've told it it's important, it will then tell you that it's important and it will go into that folder.
Before you read it.
Right. But if I've sent you something that I've marked high priority, it would then go into my important line on there again.
And if I had never done this on my end?
I don't know that. I don't know the answer to that.
Thank you.
Not sure. Not sure.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
The same box work the same way?
The same box work the same way? I don't know anything about the same box. Oh, that's Jeff's email. Yeah, you have to ask Jeff. I don't know.
Is there any way Google will categorize your mail for you, put it in folders for you by subject or by
Yeah.
person, so that you don't have to?
Yeah, they have two things now that they're doing with this label thing. Again, under labels, right? With this label thing, it's going to put them in categories for you. And what it does is it goes out and it looks at the mail and it says, oh, this is a Facebook thing. So it will put it in, assuming that you check show, right? And then and then let it know that you want to do it. It'll put it in social if you say social.
But not by subject line, by subject in the content of the
No.
text.
You have to do that on Apple. You can do a little filter in here, right? Because I can say if such and such a filter applies, then do this action. We were doing this when we were doing voting. We would say if such and such votes, or for classes, how do we organize those things into classes? Because Jerry likes to have it organized by classes, so we've made these rules to put things into classes.
But Marty, if you do the rules there, will it come over to your iPad,
Sure.
iPhone, and Mac Mail?
Sure.
Okay.
As long as you set up the same labels in IMAP, right? As long as you set these things up, it will do that.
Marty?
Now, the other question, go ahead, George.
Well, I think based on what you just asked, I set my mailboxes on my computer, and they automatically showed up in here, because it's iMac.
Right. Yeah, that works a lot. It just keeps wanting us to do this. Yeah, mail in, mail on your device works the same way. Here's my Gmail. And we were talking about settings, right? Mail. So I'm on my iPad, right? I go to mail. Marilyn, you said it was where?
Accounts, I believe, isn't it?
Oh, accounts,
Marsh,
right,
yes.
advanced.
You select an account, one of your mail accounts.
And go up to the
Go
top?
to the account,
Yeah.
now go down to advanced.
Okay, let me go back here just to make sure we're all in. So this is mail.
Getting brought up a little bit.
Whoops.
Yeah, put it on the
We're in
quarter.
mail, right? I'm going to pick my Gmail account, which is this one. I'm going to go to account. And then you scroll down to advanced.
And there it is, right there, just above the arrow. If you put archive mailbox, it'll give you the choice of archive. If you put deleted mailbox, it will give you the choice of trash.
Okay?
That's the way it's to do it. Thank you.
So here's deleted or archive. And archive mailbox tells you whether you want it, where do you want it? Do you want it to be on the server? See where it says on the server or on my iPad? And of course, I keep everything on the server because I don't want to keep cluttering up my iPad.
While you're on iPad, Marty,
Right?
I figured out how you can cap not a sentence that you've typed, but one word that you've typed.
Okay. And
So you just need to go to some place where you have where you can type notes or whatever. So just, okay, now highlight that word.
highlight that one.
You can't do it with a sentence, just with a word. Okay, then double tap the capital arrow. And it should show up in the bottom along the quick thing.
Oh, I see. It's down here.
Right.
And now what happens?
If you click it, it should be all capped there.
Oh, there it is.
There you go.
Okay, so the process is,
Another way to
just
do
do
it.
it again down here. The process is I type some letters. Oops. I type some lowercase letters. And now I highlight it.
Or selected, whatever, selected is a better word.
I've double tapped the shift key, and it appears down here. Right?
Yes.
I'm getting this right? And I touch that, and it goes into capitalized.
You can't do it with a sentence, you can just do it with a word.
Okay? Linda?
I have another mail question. When I first got my iPhone, which was like November 2013, I guess, and Earthlink helped me set up so that I could get my Earthlink mail right on there because it wasn't one of the options.
Yeah.
But I had it set up so that if I read it on there, and then I had and still have a pocket account, which I know is like a gazillion years old. But anyway, but I wanted it so that if I read it there, then when I turned on my laptop, everything would still be there. But on the other hand, I had it set up with the settings on the laptop that if I read it on the laptop and I deleted it or I filed it or whatever, then it wouldn't show up on the iPhone. So anyway, now I can't seem to, now it still always shows up on my iPhone even if I've taken care of it on the laptop. And I talked to Apple and I talked to Earthlink and they sort of said, I'm running Sierra now on the laptop. And they said, you can't set it up that way anymore. I set it up like in my preferences for Earthlink on the 2 different devices. So I wanted, if I'm traveling, I can read all my email on my iPhone. But then when I go home, it's still there when I open my laptop.
To my knowledge, the determinant is is device independent. It just depends on what kind of mail you have, what kind of mail system you're using. If you're on POP, it's going to work the way you described it. It's not good. You're going to delete it here, delete it here, delete it here. If you're on an IMAP, if you delete it anywhere, it will get deleted everywhere.
How do you know
You have them
which one
all
you're on?
set up that way.
Which is why I kept it at POP. But as I said, it used to be that if I deleted it on the Mac, then it didn't show up next time I signed in on my iPhone.
Right, because it's IMAP. Right.
How do you set that up, Mark?
Explain the difference between POP and iMac.
And how do you set up the iMac?
Say it again.
How do you set up iMac if you don't have it?
IMAP is almost always set up automatically. When you create a new account, and I say that I should say, it's almost always set up automatically now.
Now, yeah.
Because almost everybody has migrated to IMAP.
Except me.
Hotmail's not. I think AOL is not quite. You still have some choices. Like Gmail is POP, is IMAP. Although you can change, you can make it POP if you want it to be. And I think what happens, and I think what happens is people add an account, and when they add an account, you get an option of adding a. It's not going to work, of course.
I mean, at this point, both Apple and Earthlink have told me I can't go back to the way it was working before I upgraded my OS on my Mac.
I don't think it's OS dependent. In my knowledge, it's not OS dependent. I don't think I can do it on here. But basically, Bob's point, basically the old mail systems were post office protocol. That's what POP stands for. And IMAP is something else. The difference is when you had POP, it was just like getting a letter. It would come here, it would be there. It would come here, it would be there. And they didn't communicate through servers. Now everything, as I just showed you on the Gmail thing, everything is server dependent. So when you go look here, you actually have choices of where you want your drafts to appear and where you want your things, where you want your inbox to appear. Do you want these on your server? Do you want your inbox stored on your server, or do you want it stored on your iPad? Do you want drafts stored here or there? So forth and so on. I think you can still do it with POP you'll have to change each one of these things to make it appear only here and have different settings on your Mac. Maybe you can do that.
This program, 1Password, on my iPad, I cannot go to the, I select a login, and it will not go. I don't know how you, I've got a
I'm not
Safari
fine.
program,
Okay.
and I've got a 1Password program. They don't talk. I don't know how I get an automatic login. I can look it up, write it down, and then go to Safari, enter it, and then go to the site.
Why would you do a lot of work? When you're in Safari, Bill's question was, when I'm in Safari and I want to use 1Password, he has to go open 1Password, find his password, write it down, and then enter it. That's defeating the purpose, right?
On his iPad.
You what?
He has that problem on his iPad.
On his iPad, right. So I'm on my iPad.
Right.
So no, don't submit anything again. Stop. Let me find that little page.
You hit the arrow on the right-hand side.
Yeah, and I had to, my wife made me promise that I was going to show you something she showed me the other day. Don't make me forget. So here's constant contact, right? And I'm going to sign in. I'm just going to touch the sign in box up here. So when I touch that, that'll probably auto-populate, right? Yeah, it automatically populated. I'm going to try and find one where it's not going to automatically populate. Come on. Well, everything's automatically populating, but I can't show you. Let me try and find one that's not the HC. Thank you, America. So this is Bank of America. And I've just told it to use another ID. So now it's blank, right? If I
Go up to the box with the,
no, that's the same thing. So let's take Bank of America. If I wanted to populate Bank of America, I would just touch the, I don't have one second, sorry. One of these is going to work. There you go. So in 1Password, I just touch city cards. And you see 1Password up here in the upper left. which means I'm operating through my password. And it went and found it and populated it.
Okay.
So the easiest way to do it is that. On my Mac, one password would appear, and again, I don't have it set up here, but on the Mac, one password would appear as an icon on the next to the search bar, and you would just touch that and it would fill it in.
Thank you.
I had a cracked screen, had it replaced yesterday at the Apple store. Now my thumbprint doesn't work. How do you restore the utility of it?
You re-sign it, you do it again just as if you don't have a Touch ID. Who asked about Touch ID? Another question on Touch ID.
I have Touch ID.
Because yours doesn't work on your iPad.
What's that?
I said, you said it didn't work on your iPad, right?
I said it works about 20% of the time.
Yeah.
But that's what I did. I erased my other fingerprints and did it over again. Worked for a while and then forgot about it.
Yeah, you just have to keep retraining it, right? See here, I have, I was in a meeting the other day where somebody let their phone do that for like 10 minutes, so she just couldn't hear it. So you just go retrain it. You just go retrain it again. You have to just repeat it and delete it and keep redoing it over and over. Sometimes it loses it. Sometimes the oil on your fingers gets in the way if it's too hot or too cold. Because this is capacitor. This is a capacitor. Basically, that's all you're changing. So you just redo it and retrain it.
About redoing the fingerprint, I had that experience and I deleted it, and that fingerprint disappeared. It only left me with 4 instead of 5. I managed, I found it worked really well because I used my thumb on 3 different fingerprint settings. It all, so it held up very well. But when I started having some trouble with it and tried to redo it, I deleted it and it didn't give me, it just diminished the number of fingerprints that I have there by 1. Is that normal?
I'm not aware of any limit.
Took the first fingerprint away and it just disappeared.
My guess is that the only difference is whether if you touch the top, if I touch right thumb again, here, if I touch right thumb again and try and repeat it with my left thumb, it will delete right thumb. But if you add a fingerprint down here, as you see, I already have 4. I could add another one, I could make it 5, I could make it 10. And to my knowledge, there's no limit other than the storage capacity of your device.
Why would you have so many?
Well, I use my iPad this way and this way, so I have right and left. And then right finger, forefinger was for class, and finger 4 was just to demonstrate adding a new fingerprint. My son does, his wife, and his son, so they have different, anybody can access his device, so if something happens. And I encourage that for everyone. If you don't have somebody else, who can have access through fingerprint, just for security reasons, it would be a good thing to do. My wife has access to mine, actually to my phone, so that if something happens and she needs to get in there, she doesn't have to know what numbers I have, how do you access one password and all that.
You should point out that those titles are there because you put them there.
Yes.
People may wonder, how does that show up? You've given them those names.
Finger 4 could easily be finger 788, right? I just touch it and retype what I want there. It's just like naming your iPad. We covered this last week. If you don't have a name for your iPad, you should name it. Mine's called Marty's iPad.
I had an experience that I would like to relate to you.
Go ahead.
It goes along one of Marty's musts is to have your app Find My iPhone. I would like to suggest that don't just do that. Use it. Get some experience using it before you need it. Because when you need it,
you want it fast.
Right.
I had an experience, I had a rented car, and somehow the iPad slipped out of my package that was on the passenger side, under the seat. So when I checked out of the car, I didn't see it. I was in the hotel, about $10 taxi away from the taxi fare away from the rental place, when I used the Find Your iPad on my iPhone. And it showed the rental area and the line in the parking lot there where the iPad was. So I went there with the iPhone, and we walked to the car, and there it was.
We love success stories.
But use it before. It will tell you that it's here right next to you, and it tells you what you can do with it. But the first time you use an app, you have to read everything. What else? Where do I tap? And it takes a lot of time. If you have it practiced, you can do it very quickly and very easily.
Coordinated with that, if you have an iPad and you're in Touch ID and passcode, down at the bottom here it says erase data. Everybody should have that turned on. If you don't have it turned on, you're just setting yourself up.
What does it say?
It says erase data on this iPad after 10 failed passcode attempts.
Right.
So the guy who found his iPad in the car and was trying to get into his information would only have 10 chances to pick a 6-digit number. And it's pretty impossible, right? Unless he used 111111 or something like that. So erase data just protects you. You all should have that checked. If somebody finds it, it's under Touch ID, all the way at the bottom, erase data. Just like the one under iCloud where you pick your backup.
My Volkswagen says you don't forget your phone on the key.
Right. If you had a Volkswagen.
Forget to buy it.
My wife showed me something the other day that she said, if you don't cover this in your discussion on Monday, I'm going to be really upset.
Wow.
So I want to show you. This is Notes, right? Just the Apple Notes thing. And I keep a lot of things in here. I have what I call archive contacts. And I put them into Notes. And the problem with this is when I'm looking for something, I'm doing this. You know, they're alphabetical to some extent, but I got to go find it. And if it's a pain in the neck.
Right.
Because this is, you know, if the little slider bars at the bottom, I got to go all the way up to the top. Inevitably, I'm looking for a C when I'm down in the Z's, whatever. She said, oh, don't you know, if you double tap right above where it says iCloud, just double tap right there, it takes you to the top.
I knew that.
You knew that, you didn't tell me.
It works in Safari, it works in Mail,
As
it
she
works
described to me.
everywhere.
She said everywhere.
Yes.
If you're doing this and you want to get to the top, you just double tap, not on the name, because if you do it on the name, it doesn't work. Up there, double tap, takes you to the top. So give my wife credit when you see her, tell her, oh, Marty mentioned you in the...
Is that just in the iPad Pro? Because I've got
No.
I can't get my notes alphabetized.
Oh, it's not alphabetical. Well, in my case, it's partly alphabetical.
How can I get mine alphabetized? I don't think you can.
I think it arranges it by date.
Yeah.
Notes are arranged by date.
No, actually, notes are arranged by however you tell them.
Yeah, they're not arranged by anything in
If
mine.
you change view in Notes, this is the Notes app on the Mac. If you change view, no, maybe not.
I was thinking of the iPad.
Oh, wait a minute, because there is a way to do it, maybe it's in preferences.
But this is not on the iPad
Sort
or
notes.
iPhone.
This is on the
If
Mac.
you go
Sort
to-
by notes, dated, edited,
Right.
credited, or title,
Oh,
right? So titles will organize them on the Mac.
It does the same thing on the iOS.
It is
Go into settings,
notes,
notes,
and it says sort
sort
by.
by.
Oh,
It's not
Okay.
alphabetical,
Here,
not alphabetical.
oh,
yeah. It is alphabetical. It's by title, but.
By title.
oh, well, that's okay.
Sort notes by title,
Sure.
and the other choice is
Oh,
by date edited or date created, rather, right? And the same thing, you can pick new notes, start with heading or start with the body, which account they go in and all that kind of stuff.
Sort by.
When we are ready, I do put some of my passwords in there and stuff. And one time it asked me if I want to encrypt my notes. I was scared because I forget password.
Right. Yeah, I don't encrypt my notes. I figure they're notes.
Marty, can I add one other thing to your wife's suggestion? When you're in Safari, the search line will disappear if you're going through several pages in Safari. And if you tap once, it'll take you to the top, and if you tap the second time, it'll open up the, well, I'm not sure which comes first, but one tap will open up the search bar, and the other tap will open up the, will take you to the top.
This is in Safari.
What do you tapping? You tap up by the, right up where the time is at the top. Like if you're going through several things, now I don't know, are you on the iPad? I
I'm
know
on
it's-
iPad, yeah.
Yeah, so you need to be scrolling down and looking at a bunch of stuff.
Scrolling down. I don't know what you mean by.
Go to the bottom.
Go to the bottom.
Well, okay, you need to have something where you're going to different pages.
So what do you want me to be doing here?
Go to some site where you're gonna be scrolling down to see several things. Yeah, newspaper, magazine, whatever.
So I'm on our site, which has a lot of text. And I normally would scroll this way.
Right, all right, now watch as you scroll down, you'll see at the very top, you see how the search bar disappears?
Yeah. You seeing that up here?
Right up there, okay, so just scroll down again. Now, one tap once up by the time. Okay, the search bar comes up. Tap again, and it should take you to the top. What you did is you didn't tap by the time, you tapped by this other thing.
Yeah, okay. It does. So the point is, if you're down here, one tap opens the thing, and then you tap it again, and it takes you right to the top.
Right.
Well, I just tap once on top.
But if you want to go into the search bar,
The search bar, oh, okay, yes.
that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
you need two taps, one for the search bar and one to get to the top.
Yeah.
It's especially useful on the phone because
Yeah,
you're not seeing a lot of things.
Where are you tapping?
Right by
Right
the
up-
time,
Right by the
above
time.
the search bar.
Right by the time, right there. So you get up to here, and we're
Show
going
it
to
to
tap,
you.
and we're going to tap right there. Takes you right to the top.
I think you can tap on the time, that's what I always do.
Okay, other questions?
If you tap in the search bar, what it'll bring up is your favorites. If you tap on the search bar,
Right.
there's your favorites.
My question was about encrypting.
I've never done it, so I can't answer anything about it. I wouldn't encrypt my notes. I mean, unless there's something really, I've never done it. All right, thank you all very much. We'll see you next time.